for the government of the Navy.
I propose to consider the progress of measurement in telephone industry from personal memories during the last 60 years. In 1882, to the youngster, there were available Wheatstone bridge, mirror and other galvanometers, condensers, standard cells. These came from the telegraph business, the earliest form of electrical engineering. But because that involved low frequencies, that experience was of no help whatever to telephone measurements. One way of demonstrating as between AC and DC was to use the hand generator of a bell coupled to the middle point of the bell differentially through to two independent circuits, both of the same resistance, one inductive and the other non-inductive. Yet the bell rang, of course. Another way was to use the same generator in series with the bell and in series with a telephone transformer, both coils in series. When the two coils were magnetically opposed, the bell rang. When they were not in opposition, the bell was silent. One remembers the groping after efforts to test the efficiency of transmitters and receivers. In the case of transformers, it was very early evident that the iron core was mainly of assistance for ringing. It had very little effect on speech. A recollection of 1888 is of a coherer, a dry joint which, when inserted in the line, could regularly be relied upon to go disconnected frequently and to be restored by tapping the transmitter. Then came, for a long time, there was no way of being able to predict how well a circuit would talk. Then came empirical comparisons. Later on, attenuation. What a tremendous relief it was to be able to know in advance how a circuit would talk. Later on came traffic measurements, number of calls, incidents, waiting times, loads, and their effect on the quantity and kind of plant for handling them and on the provision of operators. Later on, probabilities appeared probably 38 years ago in trunk calculations. And then later on still came measurements in connection with tariff problems. As regards instrumentalities, the high-frequency dynamo, the oscillograph, and the valve came, and then at last telephony was able to get to grips on its electrical measurements. The fact that the person making the call actually waited on the line for the completion of his individual non-standardized order focused attention on speed and accuracy. There was no period of seclusion after the customer had gone in which to complete the call at leisure. The maintenance and operating technique also had to have attention by persons separated by many countries and by thousands of miles. Thus, naturally and logically, the telephone engineer was led to his proper attitude towards cost and cost comparisons. He was always building his plant. The capital account was never closed, and he had to plan for the future so that at all times the system should be an economical and harmonious whole, even though built piecemeal. Out of such conditions came the present-day telephone services and their very high standard of performance in a common service to the public of the world of immense importance. In his lecture to the Institution of Civil Engineers in 1883 on electrical units of measurement, Lord Kelvin said, "When you can measure what you are speaking about and express it in numbers, you know something about it. But when you cannot measure it, when you cannot express it in numbers, your knowledge is of a meager and unsatisfactory kind." Surely, measurement has been the greatest factor in the development of telephone services.